So if you guys remember this video right here, you will know that we recently went through a massive downsizing with this reptile building, getting rid of almost 50% of the reptile variety in this building to really focus in on specific breeding projects that I am very passionate about. I wanted to take today and give you guys a brand new reptile room tour video showcasing what we kept, what is still here, what is going to stay, and what will eventually leave if it has not already. Also real quick, make sure you stick around to the end of the video. We are going to be announcing some pretty big news. So stick around. While this room is more sparse than usual, there's still some absolutely amazing reptiles to see, and subscribe if you're new. I'd love to have you around. Let's get into it. Things off, we are going to start in the very entrance of my building. Now, as you can see, most of this first shelf is just brought up by supplies that I need, and then trash that needs to go down and eventually out of the building. However, right next to it, we have this absolutely gorgeous male Chihuahua gecko that is in a temporary 12 by 12 by 18 while we give the female a little break from him. Once she looks like she's back and bouncing back from laying all those clutches of eggs, they will be repaired. I like keeping my Chihuahua geckos together. They seem to do fine. There's really no issues with them, and I just find that keeping them as a pair makes my life a little bit easier without any consequences of keeping them as a pair. Next up, right above me, we actually do still have one day gecko left that we are going to be keeping. This is a lineated day gecko, or a line day gecko. Only reason it actually is still here is because it's too fast that I don't think I'd be able to get it in a deli cup to sell it and ship it off. So for now and for the rest of its life, it will remain in this 12 by 12 by 18 because I just can't figure out how I would put this thing inside of a deli cup. Moving on, right next to us, we have our brand new isopod collection that we got going on. Of course, you guys might have seen that video. I'll put a little thing right here. We got some oranges, we've got some zebras, dairy cows, and then dwarfs and springtails as well. These guys are doing fantastic. Already seeing babies using these tubs, which is absolutely awesome. I cannot wait to have some colonies going with these guys. Moving on to the next shelf, we have some absolutely bangers to talking about. Starting with this one right here, we have, of course, the brand new GTX female Leachianus gecko. A beautiful, amazing gal who, every time I see her, I'm just stunned by those giant white polka dots. It is absolutely beautiful. Right now she is staying here temporary just because this is actually inhabited right now. Once we get these tokays paired back up, she will be moving into an 18 by 18. We actually have a lychee specific enclosure which is going from a sponsorship. However, that's been held up, so I'm just waiting for that to get here, and then at that point we can do a really cool lychee build I have in mind. But again, I don't have the enclosure right now. Upside to the upper part of the shelf, we have the actual only gecko project here that is not going to be new cal or tokays. That's going to be my CB Halmahera green-eyed geckos. Now, every other part of the geckos I sold off or still have to sell off because at the end of the day, they were still pretty common. Like, you can always get your hands on more Madagascan giant days. You can always get your hand on standings day geckos. However, finding a captive bred source for Halmaheras, that's pretty rare. You don't see that every day. So I thought in the back of my mind, you know what? It's two geckos. They'll end up going in like a 29 gallon or an 18 by 18 by 24, something like that. I think I can keep the pair here, grow them out, see if I can do some Halmahera babies of my own. I just think they're cool. It's a really niche, cool thing that you're not gonna find so often, so I really just didn't want to sell them. Finally, right here, we actually have a reduced pattern male tokay gecko. This is one of our breeders that we have for our multiple tokay projects. Right now, he's cooling off from one pair that just didn't go well. They didn't fight or anything, but they weren't giving me eggs, and it's been 90 days, so I decided to cool him off. Whenever you unpair tokay geckos, you always want to wait at least 3 weeks for that male to get the scent off from the female before repairing so they can actually have a better chance of bonding and then eventually giving you eggs. It's actually been in here for a little bit over a month. He's more than ready to put back in pretty much any day now. Whenever I find the time that I'm not making YouTube videos, I'll probably just pull him and then put him in another girl's enclosure and we'll be good to go. At that point, Leachianus will then go in this enclosure until we can get that sponsored enclosure here at that point. Coming back over here to the reptile set, you guys probably notice a big thing, and that is the fact that the chameleon cage is empty. And yes, the sad news is there are no more chameleons over here at Dakota Blue Exotics. Quite honestly, I don't think there'll be more chameleons over here. It just stems from the fact that, of course, chameleons have a specialized husbandry and care that you need to provide, and with what we really want to do here is ambient humidity and ambient husbandry for our projects, that being New Caledonian tokay geckos, things of that nature. It just makes it hard to achieve that while also achieving the special husbandry to that need. So maybe later on, new facility, new place, maybe we'll end up getting a new one, but for at least the near future, do not expect any chameleons because it's just not a feasible thing at this point in time. Then of course, checking out our absolutely gorgeous 4 foot by 2 foot by 4 foot Zen Habitats cage, we have the Frill Dragon, Tim. You guys love Tim. Tim unfortunately does not like me, so I can't really pull him out. He frills. He goes, ah, and then he runs away. So we'll just be leaving him alone, not stressing him out. Tim is actually back here in the 4x2x4 doing absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, the heat bulb burned out. We actually had 2 or 3 lights burn out today, which is a bit of a bummer. We'll have to order some more. It's been very difficult finding some par 38 floodlights that will get here readily, which is a bit concerning. I know there's a shortage of them now, and hopefully we can figure out an alternative before this becomes a real issue. We're also able to tell we did actually move the old chameleons plants in here, so now Tim has some Now Tim has some pothos and umbrella plant. Just add some greenery in there, makes it a little bit prettier. I do really like how this setup is looking. I think this will be the last steps of this setup. As soon as these plants get a little bigger and grow, it'll look like an actual jungle. It would be a perfect set piece and a perfect enclosure for this frilled dragon. Moving ourselves slightly to the left, before we get to this tank right here, we actually have to talk about this little tank. And inside this tiny little box right here, we have a GBB sling, a gold. My goofy, Jesus Christ. Green bottle blue tarantula sling. This guy's absolutely fantastic and has really ignited my passion for taking care of tarantulas, and potentially to the fact where you guys might be seeing some new tarantulas here potentially very shortly. Guess we'll have to find out. And of course, over on right here, we have the Quince monitor tank. Now, the Quince monitor, again, the lights burnt out. Kind of a bummer. If you guys are wondering what's going on with this Quince tank, I did make a video. It's somewhere over on top of this area. That's why he's in this kind of a smaller space of enclosure. Taming has been absolutely fantastic. He actually tongue feeds off of me right now, which is amazing. An animal that when he was in this enclosure would run at the side of me is now feeding readily off of tongs. Absolutely amazing practice we have. I hope to get him real tamed in the future to the point where he can become somewhat of a mascot, coming out, hanging out on my shoulder, things of that nature. Coming on down to the bottom part of this, we got 2 AP cage enclosures to talk about. Now the first one right here is actually Rex, my bearded dragon. This is the first reptile I've ever gotten and the first PVC cage I've ever gotten. We actually spent about $1,100 on these 2 PVC enclosures, and they've lasted here for almost a decade now, maybe 7 years at this point. It has been amazing what these things have been able to go through. 3 moves, lots of stuff, no breakage so far, knock on wood. Here we've got my pet red-tailed boa, Viv, which was my 3rd reptile actually. She's been doing absolutely fantastic. It's getting up there in age, almost 10 years also. It's really strange seeing how long I've been actually working with reptiles now that I have some that I've grown out as tiny little babies going into the double digits in age. It's a little bit of a weird feeling. I am feeling a little bit old right now. I think this is my midlife crisis. There's nothing in there at the moment, at least to talk about. I have these all-in-one strict light that has a lighting cycle, and I just didn't unplug it, so these things just go on and off, but there's nothing in there. Then right here, of course, we have the myth, the legend, everyone's favorite tokay gecko in my collection, the super red tokay. This little dude is hanging out in a 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot Zen Habitats cage. Is absolutely loving it. I'm really glad that the plants are still doing good. Usually I do not have good luck with plants that I put in enclosures, but these are still doing fantastic. Of course, now we showed off a couple of Zen Habitats cages. If this is something you guys want some more information about, I absolutely recommend these bad boys. You can check out a link right down there in my description to learn more. Your boy gets a small cutback if you buy from that link, and I really much appreciate it. On to the next section of this building, you guys get to see the New Caledonian corner. This is where I keep all of my New Cal geckos. This video would be far too long to go in depth on each specific animal that is over here. If you guys want to do like an all my New Cal geckos, make sure to put a comment down on the bottom. What the fuck did I just say? Make sure to drop a comment down if that's something you guys want to see. For now, I'll just showcase what my favorite thing is. This is my brand new GTX male Leachianus gecko. Absolutely fantastic. This will be the boy to go with that girl next season to hopefully, fingers crossed, some Leachianus babies in the 2024 breeding season. Instead of talking about each individual animal in here, I figure we'll just do a brief little montage of all of them, do some cool, groovy EDM royalty-free music. So let's get that done right now. Of course, moving on over, we have the Tokay Gecko shelf. This is where the second biggest project we have over here. Of course, New Cows being our largest, Tokay Geckos being our second. This is one of 3 of our main products we have over here at Dakota Blue Exotics. Tokay Geckos are absolutely fantastic. Of course, we always got to bring out my main man, Bert, to show you guys that you are bigots if you think all Tokay Geckos are mean. Because as you can see, this guy's not mean at all. I can boop him, I can touch his face, and nothing happens. You are just racist against Tokays. If you guys don't know much about Dakota Blue Exotics, we actually work with a multitude of different genetics over here, starting with Bert being 100% het patternless. We've got Super Red, Granite, Green Galaxy, Reduced Pattern, Het Platinums, probably other things I forget. I mean, just look behind me. There's a lot of Tokay tanks. You expect me to remember every gene that we work with? It's a lot. I absolutely love Tokay Geckos. It's awesome to see them actually getting tamed out like Bert here, who is my prodigy, my star child, my amazing gecko. Come here. Come, child. It's absolutely awesome getting a Tokay Gecko from wanting to bite you yourself to just being able to have him crawl around on your arm. Such a cool little dude. Coming on down to the final part of this reptile room tour, we have the section that I love to call Growtopia, just because anything over here is either on top of a grow tent or is a grow tent, hence the name Growtopia. Running a little bit behind schedule, and it looks like the lights are actually starting to turn off, so I kind of got to start speeding this up. And this tank right here is actually an 8 foot by 4 foot by 6 foot that houses our male Argus monitor, Bimson. Bimson has been doing an absolutely fantastic animal when he isn't causing severe and permanent nerve damage to my fingers. He's an absolute amazing dude. Wish I could take him out, but he'd probably do that damage again to my hand, and his lights are off and he's asleep, so I guess he won't be pulling out any Argus monitors sufficient bad damage to myself today. Onto the other side of Bimson's enclosure, we have Rosemary the Red Tegu. She has been doing absolutely fantastic out of brumation. I cannot wait to get her blue together. We're trying to get him to cycle up, make sure she gets that ovulation going, and then at that point, Blue will be paired with her for our chance to get some tri-bred Tegu babies in 2023. And we've got roaches, orange heads, lobsters. Do I need to go into those? Rounding down this list, only a few more things to talk about. The fact of the matter is this enclosure and that enclosure actually has nothing in it, and I'm just too lazy to put it down right now, so they're just up for the most part. Over here in this tent, we have our Tegu pair, Blue and Big Bertha. Absolutely amazing Tegu pair. They were doing fantastic. So close last year to getting Tegu eggs. We did get them to cycle. We got them to breed. However, at the very last moment, I messed up the nesting material, didn't do it right, and unfortunately, Bertha reabsorbed those follicles instead of laying us eggs. Mistake I plan not to repeat this season, so let's hope for not just tri-bred Tegus, but some nice Bertha/Blue Tegu eggs as well. Very excited. Fingers crossed I can do it right. Just gotta focus in and think to you just have to manifest into the universe. Give me Tegu babies, and then it'll come. You should probably do the work it takes to actually breed them as well, but manifesting is definitely part of the job. And absolutely last, we have some snakes over here that just have not sold yet. This includes a high white albino California king snake male, a high white exanthic Brooks king, a white-sided Brooks king. We still have a tessera corn snake and a palmetto corn snake. Some absolutely fantastic stuff. Now remember folks, we still have a few of these left on Morph Market. I believe I'm actually gonna probably ship them back to my buddy because I just can't have them here anymore. It's just been too long. So if you guys do want these snakes, I'm gonna give you guys a great deal on them. Make sure to check out the Morph Market for more information. And I really am running late. Lights are starting to turn off every 5 seconds. We gotta get this thing over with. Here you got it, boys, a reptile room tour in 2023. Now, I did mention that we did have some surprising news, and I'm gonna talk about that right now. It'll actually be the last reptile room tour that you will see at Dakota Blue Exotics in this building. If you guys caught the live stream a couple of days ago, which won't be that because this video won't be posted the same day I film it, you will know that we are actually moving locations. A lot more we're going to be talking about in a separate video, but I just wanted to shout it out right here. This will be the last time you see this building in a reptile room tour video. Of course, while we have cut pretty heavily into the animals and variety of reptiles we hear, I really think this is going to be the best thing for the business, really focusing in on the beautiful New Caledonian crested gargoyles, chewies, and leechies. Obviously, keeping with our tokays, it's what I am known for. And then lastly, tegus as a little bit of a passion breeding project. As always, folks, thank you so much for taking the time of your day to follow us over here at Dakota Blue Exotics. I will see you next time, but until then, goodbye.